in our last video, I showed you how to make one of these, and many of you were interested in the other device that I had made, which was one of these. Now this one is not, it is not very neat by any means, but it was a prototype. So it's a cheap RAM pot basically, and you just, now the reason why I have all these little circles on it is to cut down the sound of the noise that are on these, because these are originally door handle alarms. Now door handle alarms, there's a couple of different types that you'll find on eBay. You've got this one, which is converted to this. You've got this, and one other one that I actually worked on is this one here, and I'm going to show it to you in its original state. Basically it's that, and you put this over your door handle and then you tighten it up like this. Very, very small, very, very compact, and the process of doing all these are exactly the same, and that is how I came up to modify this. You just leave it there to calibrate. There's no flashing light on this at the moment, but I am working on it. And the problem with this one is there isn't a wide lot of space. I am going to try to get a little flashing LED in there. But we're back to we'll go back and talk about this one here. What you need is, what we're going to install is an antenna. Now there's one's 60 centimeters and 44 centimeters. I suggest you get this 44 centimeters. The search on eBay is radio antennas. I went and I bulk buyed these bulbs, which are basically side light bulbs for cars. You get 12 for something like £3, but my original conversion, I used these side light bulbs from a bargain store, and these happen to be down to 50p. So we're going to use these because I think these are better quality than the bulk buy that I've done. So what we're going to do is we're going to install these bulbs so they can flash, and this antenna so you can get more sensitivity out of this alarm. Right, we're going to install a green one today. I'm going to take out one of these bulbs and leave the other one aside. You need a Phillips screwdriver. There's no batteries in that one, so that's not the actual one I'm converting today, but there's actually a fault with this one. So I have to work on that one. This one here has not been converted, except for the little pads that I put on it. Those pads are actually, you can find them in many stores, like I find these at find them at petrol station, and basically they're these, which are used on the bottom of furniture to protect floors, and they are pretty sticky. Once they go down there, they stay on. So I'm going to take out the 9-volt battery for now. What I'm actually using is an old pointed scissors to make the holes for the hole for the light, and I'll show you that in a minute. First of all, I'm going to take out the 2 screws that puts it holds the back on here. The reason why these are so good is there is you know, space inside for modification. Right, there you are. There's a simple. It's a simple setup. Here you have two wires that are going to this buzzer here. Now, I'm not an electronic expert or anything like that, but those two wires, obviously, when you turn it on and this buzzer doesn't go off, no electricity goes to these two wires. But when it's triggered, the electricity goes down and obviously operates the buzzer. It's that simple. What we're going to do is I'm going to actually use a lighter to burn off a little bit of the casing here and here, and we're going to connect the bulb to that circuit. So when the electricity is fed down this to put off this buzzer, it's also fed down into this bulb and makes it go off. So it just makes the I know it's not very professional, but and there's other ways of doing this. I'm doing this in the handiest possible way. If you've got the proper tools to do this, you know, go right ahead and use them. Right, that's the wire exposed on that one, and somewhere around the same, do the same thing to the other wire. You know, there's crimping tools out there and stuff like that, but I don't have those kind of items. Right, so we're going to put our bulb somewhere around here. So what I'm going to do is you can use a drill, of course you can, but for handiness, what I use is this pointed scissors, because I can increase the size of the hole as I go up. So I'm actually going to do it on this side, because when you push in, you don't want the plastic sticking out, so it's better off sticking out on the inside. So of course you can use a drill, but actually I'm going to use a very sharp point of my screwdriver to start off the hole. I want to try and get in there as tight as I possibly can. Obviously I'm going to glue it as well, but no, need to go a little bit further. You see what I mean? Doing it from this end to here, you get this kind of a lip that's in the inside. If you do it the other way, that lip of plastic is going to stick out of the front there. Still not there. A little bit at a time. Right, so there's your hole is ready for the bulb. What we're going to do now is we're going to open these little wires here. And we're going to bend these over the pieces of exposed wire here. And the other one. Just bend that wire over there. It's a little bit fiddly. Bend that wire over that little exposed wire, one on each side. Right, so now you have one wire on each side of the bulb, and make sure it's a good connection. Make sure that the wires are not touching. What you do then is you solder this. If you do not have a solder, what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to glue, put a good bit of glue around these connections. So one, they don't move, and two, they stay separated. First of all, I'm going to go down to the end of the bulb itself to glue that to the casing. And then I'm going to put a blob of glue all over this connection. This is if you have limited resources. If you have a soldering iron and you know how to use it, I would suggest you put a solder in there. But if I don't put it, I did put a solder in there, I would also put a little blob of glue just to insulate that. So you leave that to dry for a little while. So there you have it. That's the wires connected for the light circuit itself. Right, once this is dry, you put a hole on the opposite side of where the wire originally came out of. You drill the hole on the opposite side as close to the end of the casing as possible, because that actually is still a tight fit. Now the reason why I'm not using this side here, the reason why I'm not using the hole on this side here is because way down here is a capacitor that's actually in the way. So what we're going to do is we're going to, you get some of these antennas with this attachment on the end. I just remove that, there's no need for that, and slide. As it says earlier on, folks, this antenna here is actually a little bit too big. If we can get the smaller size antenna. Now slide it down. You're not leaving this down here because this is where the battery is, but you're going to slide it down there anyway to give yourself a little bit of space. Now, this wire here, as you can see, this is the sensitivity wire, and they're actually soldered together. So you only basically need one of these, but I actually use two of them for just that extra bit of signal. And what I do is I fold it over in half, I cut it. You use your wire snippers, which in my case is the cigarette lighter, with the risk of burning my fingers, but use a proper wire snips if you can. A little bit more off this one. I'm taking a little bit off just. Oh, that hurt. Right. Join those two together like so. Now, bring your wire back down here to the end of your antenna here. Loop it through the hole, twist it around, make sure you've got a tight connection there. Wrap it around the end of this a number of times, and then solder it. Right, once you have connected up your wire onto the end of the antenna, try and neaten away your wires. You bring the end of the antenna back up. You do not want to obstruct this area here, because that's where your 9-volt battery goes. Once you have your wire soldered on there and you have your antenna straightened, you get your hot glue again and you secure it. And I put a bit around the connection as well to keep that secure as well. I know it's a bit messy, but so basically that's all the wiring you need to do. You leave that to dry for a little while. Now, as I says, folks, I'm not very good with measurements, so this antenna is sticking out a little bit. Try to get the shortest antenna you can possibly get. The shorter the better. It means it's a little bit more narrower. It's not as difficult to squeeze down the side here. Also, you can get a cable sleeves which can go over the black cable sleeves that can go over the top of it and make this area nice and neat. Something similar to what's on the end of this, but actually smaller, you know. So when this is now dry, this is now middle and dry, try and keep all the cables away from connections and away from the sides here, and it's time to get you back on to see will it fit. That looks like it's okay. And the other one. Put in your battery. Put the back on. And there is your little REM pod. Now, if this doesn't work, it's going to be embarrassing for me. So there you have it. I think everything went okay, apart from the length of this aerial, this antenna. It's a little bit too long, so I actually have ordered shorter ones. So I hope this was helpful. Little devices like this are made by ghost companies and put out for, you know, between 50 and 60 pounds. In my mind, it's a way too much. There's a lot of people out there trying to make as much money as possible, and people get ripped off. But these are pretty cheap, you know. So, basically the circuitry is still the same, and that's how I came up to finding out how to modify this one here. I may or may not put a little light on it. You give it a little bit to calibrate, and then you there we go. There's 3 different settings there on the sensitivity. There we go. But that is this one here. Hope this was helpful for you. Hopefully, if I figure out any other little bits and pieces of gadgetry that we can modify, I will let you know. But for now, it's goodbye. And here's your little cheap rent devices. And as I said, you can get wire cable sleeves on eBay and put it up along there and make it a little bit neater and that. But do go for a shorter antenna. It's not necessary. If you can get the shortest one that you possibly can, it could end up flush, almost like this one, you know. So I will see you in the next video, folks.